Challenge, Thailand and Asia.
My soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, and you are mine.
Welcome back to the Rotax Max Challenge, Thailand and Asia Trophy. We had just a little bit of technical difficulties here, but we are ready to go one more time for now the super heats and the finals. And yesterday, starting with the Micromax and Micro Rookie, it was Chinapat Vettabuti who took both wins in qualifying heat number 1 and 2 and was also the pole man in qualifying practice. Starting next to Chinapat Vettabuti today in super heat will be Callan Delsi in the 35 cut, followed by Nutsarang Rangrustanakul, who I have just found out is the only female driver in the Micromax grid. Here is the number 78 of Chinapat Vettabuti, and right behind is the number 9, Babe Nutsarang Rangrustanakul, giving us a big wave on camera. So very close to the final here now, ladies and gentlemen, on Sunday's race. Here is the number 89 of Siravit Siri Toranakul. Right behind him is the number 98 of Sirachach Ongbangnoy. Just excited to be racing in the Rotax Max Challenge, Thailand and Asia Trophy. And right behind Sirachach is the number 44 of switching up to number 4. Trophy and a 13-cart grid for those who haven't joined us yesterday for the qualifying heat and practice. But yeah, here we go. Super heat time. And the drivers will get 9 laps, so around 12 minutes to give it all they can before the final. And just to remind you guys, these guys are the young superstars aged just below, I believe, 10 years old. So they are starting very young. But as we have seen yesterday, the racing has been fierce but fair, just showcasing the sportsmanship and respect these drivers have within each other. And they're just a little bit of a wait now before the start of the superheat. We are also live stream on the YouTube channel and the Facebook branch. Not only that, but we are also live on Mono 29 and Sports 1. So here we go, 1 minute now before the start of the Micromax and Micro Rookie Superheat. And your commentator will be Vongsapat Ketsuri on the microphone as we are about to get this race started. So here we go. Who will take the victory lane, top step of the podium, heading into the final race later on today? So the finals again will start around 12:46, right after lunch break local time. So here we go out for the warm-up lap, and then it will be the 2x2 formation before the start of this race. And so the grid start will be on your front row. Chinapat Vejabuti on pole, followed by Kalandelsi in second place. Third place will be Nutsarang Rung Rustanako, followed by the number 5 of R.3 Prabhu. In fifth place is Pawun Warakit Supachok, followed by Mason Kwong Alexander. Then in seventh place, Saritapat, followed by Jun Karato in eighth. Ninth position will be Siravit Siri Thoranako, followed by Fantach Yuvasana Kunkrai. Then in 11th position, Sirachach Ongbangnoy, followed by Ishan Suarup. And then closing the trend of 13 cards will be Jirach Sutivatanarod. So that was the formation lap. Now it will be that was the warm-up lap. Now it will be the formation lap for the micro drivers as they slowly ease in their tire pressures and engine temperatures before the start of the biggest build-up before the final in Rotax Max Challenge Asia and Thailand. This will be Rotax Max Challenge Asia's third round of racing, but for the Thailand Championship, it will be the second round. So here we go. Drivers in 2x2 formation, wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper, helmet to helmet. As we are about to get this race started, your pole man, the one controlling the speed of the train, will be Chinapat Vejabuti. And then right next to him is the fierce Kalandelsi Nutsarang, the only female driver on the grid, will find herself in third position right behind the pole man. Then in fourth position is R.3 Prabhu, the Indian driver from Kart Crew Motorsports by WK. So here we go. Before the start of the superheat, lights are out and we're racing. And Kalandelsi side by side with Chinapat Vejabuti, and that's contact. The pole man is out in the first corner with contact from Kalandelsi, and the female driver Nutsarang Rong Rustanako finds herself in first position. If you could just get a replay of what happened. In second place is the number 98, I believe. No, the number 98 is in third position. Sirachach Ongbangnoy in third position. But can't quite get who's in second place right now. But so far, the number 9 of Nutsurang Rong Rostanako, the net gainer of 2 cuts on the first lap. Right behind her is the number 39 in second place of Jun Karato. And in third position is Sirachaj Ongbangnoy. And that is followed by the number 44 of Jirach Sutivatanarot. But our poor man, Chinapat Vejabuti, finds himself all the way down in 9th position. So we will slowly see his charge back up into the front, either in the superheat or in the final. But already some chaos to start off the day as we are going side by side between Mason and the number 44 of Jirach Sutivatanaroj. Mason just making his way forward after the SS coming into the 100R. And Mason just ducking to reduce the drag on the straightaway. Mason works his way up to 4th position, and he was definitely the driver of the day for me going into qualifying heat number 1 as he moved his way from 7th into 2nd place. But we'll have to see what he can do in today's superheat and the big one on Sunday, the final. But Mason Alexander Kwong finding some pace in that kart to run away from the number 44 of Jirach Sutivatanaroj. And Jirach just running a little wide there coming into the S's, and Kalandelsi right behind him to take any advantage over the mistake. So Jirach still right there, looks behind. Kalandelsi is closer than ever now with 7 laps of racing to go. And Kalandelsi will be looking to get a surprise move in, making sure the number 44 just comes so close to the tire barrier coming out of the last corner. And the number 44 still being pushed by the number 35 of Kalandelsi coming to third corner. Kalandelsi is going to have a look down the inside, not quite yet. Thinks better of it. Kalandelsi is being patient here. And there we go. The number 44 starts defending once he sees Kalandelsi right in the rear visor. And the number 44 of Jirach just going slightly wide coming out of the first S. And this always allows Kalandelsi to move even closer into the number 44 of Jirach. And Kalandelsi gonna try to have a look down the inside, not quite yet. The number 44 of Jirach defends one more time. And now it is going to be a 3-player battle for 5th position. Jirach followed by Kalandelsi, and then it will be Sirovit. So Sirovit, Siri Tonarako following closely behind now. And Kalandelsi gonna have a look down the inside, not quite yet, into third corner. And the number 44 doing well to defend here to keep 5th position away from Kalandelsi. And Kalandelsi did have contact with Chinapat Vejabuti on the start of turn number 1 on the first lap, and we'll get to see what happens in the highlights. But for now, Kalandelsi still trailing on Jirach rear bumper. And again, Jirach goes not defensive, and Kalandelsi drives in for the move into turn number 10. And he goes just a little bit slowly, and the number 44 of Jirach takes it back down the outside of turn number 10. Kalandelsey gonna have another move. Not quite yet. Instead of it, has a little look down the inside into turn number 1. Slots back into the racing line. The number 44 of Jirach still going defensive. Kalandelsey having another look down the inside into turn number 3. And he's going to get it done, but the number 44 is having a little bit of a switcheroo. And Sidovit goes down the inside. Beautifully done there. And they're side by side coming to the first S. And the number 44 of Jirach just leaving enough room coming to the S, and he's able to take back 6th position from Sidovit. And Kalandelsey is through, and right away he starts to make a little bit of a gap on the rest of the drivers as we slowly see Chinapat Vejabuti closing in on the 2 train of carts. Kalandelsey just passed, and Chinapat Vejabuti right away side by side with the number 89. Oh, and there's a little bit of a move, a double overtake right away for Chinapat Vejabuti, just showing the raw pace he's got as the pole man for today's race to move his way up to 6th position. You've never seen Chinapat Vejabuti race this hard before, and he knows he needs to give it everything to be able to win it for the final. But the number 44 of Jirach is still going defensive on the number 89 of Sidovit Sutivatanarod. 44 still being pressured on by the number 89, but we've never seen that type of fierce racing from the number 78 of Chinapat Vejabuti. And Chinapat Vejabuti definitely going to try and make up as many positions as possible. And here we go, the number 44 still being trailed by the number 89. And 1 lap to go now, as your top 5 one more time will be Nutsarang, followed by Jun Karato. 3rd place, Sidachach, followed by Mason Alexander Kwong. And then closing the top 5 will be Kalandelsey. Kalandelsey being trailed already by Chinapat Vejabuti. And again, these two were on the front row before the collision happened, coming into turn number 1. And there we go, down the inside goes Sidovit. And Jirach having another look down the inside one more time. And it's almost like deja vu. Sidovit has a slot again back into 8th position. And Chinapat Vejabuti making his moves one more time, already ahead of Kalandelsey. But here is the female driver leading the Micromax and Micro Rookie Superheat. It will be Nutsarang Rung Rastanako to likely win the Superheat with 1 more lap to go. And behind the number 44, every time just gets so close to the tire barrier. And Jirach and the number 89 still on the defense. And on the final lap we have Ishan from India, the number 6, trailing closely behind, and we will see if anything can happen with 4 quarters left to go. The number 44 of Jirach still trying to push ahead from Sidovit, and they both are running equal lap times here, and it's especially hard to catch up. It's one thing to catch up, it's quite another to overtake. But here we go, the number 9 will take the checkered flag for the Superheats. Nutsarang Rung Rastanako wins from Jun Karato and Sidachach Ong Bang Noi. 4th place is Mason Alexander Kwong, followed by Chinapat Vejabuti. Then in 6th place is Kalandelsey, followed by Sidachach Sutivatanaroj. In 8th position will be Sidovit Siri Thoranako, followed by Ishan Swarup and Sri Tapat. So we will not have any highlights yet for the Micromax and Micro Rookie Superheats. And there was just a little bit of contact on the start there between, I believe, Kalan Delsi and Chilapat Vechibuti on the first corner. They're both drivers on the front row fall down the order. So that was the very chaotic first lap for the Micromax and Micro Rookie Super Heats. And here are the shown results on the board. Nutsarang Rangrasanaku takes the win for Thailand, followed by Jun Karato and Siddhachach Ongbangnoy. And Nutsarang, the advantager from the chaos on the first lap, and finds herself in first position. It'll be interesting to see what Chinapat Vechibuti can do on his way up to the front row of the grid in the final. But up next is the Minimax and Mini Rookie category.
Only 7 carts in the Minimax and Mini Rookie, but they have always shown some incredibly fair and fierce racing in this category. So the full row of carts on your front row is the number 177, the brother of Chinapat Vechibuti, Tanarat Vechibuti. And in third position behind is Porsche DNA, Patapogao Ganjanaset. Right behind him is the number 125 of Putipong Wongnapachant. And then behind is the number 114 of Palat Tanjapong. Then on the left side of the grid, on the fourth row will be Prin Vonkapon. And then right in front of him is the number 119 of Chaikon Mena Kenneth, followed by Papasaton Silabanleng, and then Piropong Pansatamino on second position. So that is your 4 row of carts coming into the Minimax and Mini Rookie Super Heats. And now just moving back to the conversation of what happened in the Micromax and Micro Rookie category. Interesting to see such fierce racing from Chinapat Vechibuti as he makes his way back into first. Tries to make his way up to first position. Obviously seeing the raw pace he had from yesterday from Chinapat Vechibuti. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in the final. Because once again, we are still in the fight from Chinapat Vechibuti to win both the Asia Trophy and the Thailand Championship. And Chinapat Vechibuti following in first place, leading by 20 points in the Thailand Championship. And in the Asian Championship, Chinapat Vechibuti leading by 40 points. So obviously, still some time for the others to catch up. And Chinapat Vechibuti needs to put it all he can to win it for both Asia Trophy and Thailand, the Thailand Championship as well. So the Minimax and Mini Rookie Super Heat will be 9 laps, just like the Micromaxes and Micro Rookies, and it will start at 10:24 local time. Just 2 to 3 minutes before the start of this one. And again, then we're going live as well on Mono 29 and Sports 1 and also Mono Max. Just some inside knowledge. Both the Micromax and Minimax drivers run the same cadet tires, which are the Mojo cadet tires. Once we move into the Junior Max and Junior Rookies, they will be running the D2 Mojos. And then the Senior Max and Max Masters, followed by the Max DD2 Masters, will be running the D5 tires. The grippiest compound of the Mojo configuration. But a relatively hot day compared to yesterday for the superheat and final on Sunday. And yesterday was definitely a lot cooler and cloudier as well. So just a few more minutes before the start of this one, and of course as we're waiting for the race to start, as a driver once in the kart as well, you can definitely feel your emotions at least start to rise before the start of a very important race. To the Minimax and Mini Rookie, only 8 karts, but the top 3 has always been fighting since yesterday. Tanarat Vechibuti was able to win it in qualifying heat number 2, but in qualifying heat number 1, I believe it was Pirapong Pansatamano who won it from Tanarat Vechibuti. If we discuss championship points in this state, Tanarat Vechibuti is leading the, I believe, Asia Trophy. No, sorry, Tanarat Vechibuti is leading the Thailand Championship by 14 points from Patapo Galganjanaset, who starts 3rd on the row, whereas Tanarat Vechibuti starts 1st on the grid. And the Minimax, Patapo Galganjanaset 1 point ahead of Tanarat Vechibuti in the Asian Trophy. So some interesting battles that are about to go down between the two championship contenders, but you can't always count out Pirapong Pansatamno. So here we go. It's strikingly hot today. We earlier had the group photo for the drivers, and I was burning down there, being only there for 10 minutes. So a reminder to hydrate and get a lot of rest for these drivers and also team members as well in these challenging conditions. But here we go. The 4 row of karts about to get away. And on pole position once again is Tanarat Vechibuti, is the number 177 orange Sodi kart, followed by the number 109 of Pirapong Pansatamno in the yellow Singha kart. In 3rd position is Patapo Galganjanaset. Patapo in the red Birel kart, followed by Papasaton Silabanlang, Putipong, Wong Napachant, Chaikon Mina Kanith, Palatan Japong, and then Prin Von Kapon. closing out your 8th train of carts. There we go, as Peter Pongpansatamano just gives back the position to Tanarat Vechaputi before the start of the formation lap. Drivers just putting up their radiator covers before the start of the race, making sure the engines are in optimal temperature. This is the formation lap now between Tanarat Vechaputi and Pirapong Pansatamano on the front row. Pirapong Pansatamano just reaching to squeeze that fuel line, leading out the engine before the start. There's a little gap there between Chaikon Minakinith and Prin Vonkapan, as the drivers are slowly but steadily making their way into the tram lines. And so here we go, and on the top of your screen, once the 8 red lights go out, we will go racing for the fight for glory in the Rotax Max Challenge Asia and Thailand Trophy. And here we go for the race start of the Super 8s, as down the inside goes Patapok Galganjanaset on Pirapong Pansatamano. They're side by side coming to turn number 2. And they almost bang wheels. So out in front, it is Tanarat Vechaputi, who again checks out of the race for the Super Heats. But right behind, it's Pirapong Pansatamano, who stays in second place from Patapok Galganjanaset. Right behind Chaikon Minakinith, having a fight with one of the DRM cards, the number 125 of Putipong Wong Napachan. And out in front, Tanarat Vechaputi already showing the pace he's got from Pirapong Pansatamano and Patapok Galganjanaset. And right behind, the number 105 of Papasatawan Silabalang, leading the second train of carts from Chaikon Minakinith. Sorry, that is not Chaikon Minakinith anymore, as Putipong makes his way forward into 5th position from Chaikon Minakinith. And then it's Palat Tanjapong. And then Prin Vonkapan with the number 109 of Pirapong Pansatamano. As there's a battle there between Putipong and Chaikon Minakinith for 5th position. The number 125 of Putipong still on the defense from Chaikon Minakinith. And Tanarat Vechaputi still pulling a gap. Last time around it was 0.683. The gap from the leader to second place. As we go around one more time, let's see what the gap is for Tanarat Vechaputi and Pirapong Pansatamano. And the gap this time around will be 0.705, so just a little bit faster goes Tanarat Vechaputi from Pirapong Pansatamano. And obviously he has the advantage from the whole shot for Tanarat Vechaputi to make his way into 1st position. And he did not lose any track position at all on the start of that one. As on the first lap, Pirapong Pansatamano and Patapol still fighting each other. Patapol obviously needs to get all the points he can get in order to extend his lead on Tanarat Vechaputi in the Asian Championship. Pansatamino has a look behind Patapol Galganjanasset, still right there. And behind the number 125 of Putipong, still ahead of Chaigon Manikanes. The gap this time around between the leader and Pirapompan is 0.967 as Tanarat Vechabutis finds 2/10 from the rest of the field. Galganjanasset just going 7/100ths of a second faster than Pirapong Pansatamino, and right behind Jacob Minikin has a little bit of contact with Putipong. Great car control for Putipong to keep it back on the racing line. Jacob Minikin is starting to push and push and push on the white and red Paralin cart. Pansatamino still pushing to run away from Patapol Galganjanasset. The gap seems to be just a little bit larger between those two drivers of Pirapong Pansatamino and Patapol Galganjanasset. But Tanarat Vechabuti definitely the faster one, and this one, Tanarat Vechabuti again goes into the 1-minute 00s. Pirapong Pansatamino just goes into the 1-minute 00s. Tanarat Vechabuti seems to always be one step ahead. Chaiko Minikin makes his way in front of Putipong, goes defensive into turn number 4. Putipong still slides coming into turn number 4. Chaiko Minikin advances again into 5th position. Pirapong Pansatamino, again that gap decreases between Patapol and Pirapong Pan, and it's a game of catch and run once again in the Superheat for the Minimax and Mini Rookie drivers. Last lap around, Patapol Galganjanasset was 6/100ths of a second faster, and Tanarat Vechabuti breaking into the sub 1-minute ones. He has done a 1-minute 0.981. So Pansatamino is still ahead of Patapol Galganjanasset. Pats is doing everything he can to stay ahead of the 165, the championship leader for the Asian Trophy. Tanarat Vechabuti running a great race so far, checking out of the field one more time. If this goes on into the final, we know if Tanarat Vechabuti is ahead and he's given some breathing room, he will check out of the race. Pirapong Pansatamino and Patapol Galganjanasset needs to keep it together in the final. But no shame in racing now if the leaders almost one and a bit more from second place. Pirapong Pansatamino still holding on to that second position, and the gap is closer than ever between Patapol Galganjanasset and Patapol. Pirapong Pansatamino looks behind one more time. Patapol Galganjanasset still there, and 60% of the race is done so far. As we do the gap check one more time for Pirapong Pansatamino and Patapol Galganjanasset, Pirapong Pansatamino goes faster by almost 1/10, and that is all you need to get some breathing room in racing, ladies and gentlemen. But Tanarat Vechabuti breaking into the 1-minute 0.8. Tanarat Vechabuti definitely always one step ahead, and as lap times gets faster, reckon it's the tire pressures that are starting to come in again for these drivers. Pedro Pompa's terminal starting to push again as most drivers kneel into the steering wheel, reducing the drag on the back straightaway. Djibouti, our race leader, coming into the final lap. And the gap is 1.5 tenths. And behind Peter Pongpan will just have to hold off Patapol for one more lap, and he takes a look behind and the gap is closer, and it's reeling and reeling and reeling in now. Peter Pongpan's terminal checks one more time and he misses the apex coming to turn number 4. Will we see some action happen in the final lap for second position? And the number 109, sorry, of Pierre Prangpan's terminal, still right there, right behind him. Patapol Gyalgan Janaset. Will we have a look down the inside? And Pierre Prangpan's terminal goes defensive. Patapol goes side by side with Pierre Prangpan's terminal coming to the final corner. And that's still side by side coming out of the last quarter. And it'll be a drag race to the finish line. Not quite. Pierre Prangpan's terminal wins the second place position from Patapol Gyalgan Janaset, but a beautifully driven race from Tanarat Djibouti in the car number 177. To be able to take first position. But just a little bit too close there for Pedro Pongpan. Once he started looking behind right away, his confidence and concentration started to drop. Now we will head into the highlights of Mini Max and Mini Rookie Super Heats. driven race from Tanarat Djibouti, followed by Pirapong Pantatamano's fight with Patapok Yalga Janaset for second and third position. Fourth position will be Papasiton Silabanlang, followed by Chaikon Minakidith, and then Putipong Wong Napachant, followed by Palat Tanjipong and Prin Vonkapon, closing the 8 train of karts in Minimax and Mini Rookie Super Heats. Then up next, we will have the Junior Max and Max Masters, and on your front row will be Hamish Campbell, followed by Panusian Mankong. And on the second row, Mika Slabat, followed by Jamie Ombros. And then in the third row, we will have Kian Shah with Paul Becker. In fourth row, we will have Nadal Imchipanya next to Poomsit Kulamachong. And then in the fifth row will be Pan Saksam Songchai, followed by Mikhail Rangsiman Pirainen. And the second largest train of carts for the junior category, 21 cart field for this one. Is of Jamie, so behind is the number 220 of Paul Becker. Right behind him is the number 264 of Poomsit Klomachong. Here's the number 212 of Mikhail Pirainen. Right behind him is the number 289 of Tanatas. And this is the number 258 of Tasmangsuri, followed by the number 266 of Wachidawit Chaipraset. Here's the number 234 of Kanpong Chatratanakan. And then in the 20th position, Kantapat Narin Suksanti. And right behind the number 2939 is the biggest organizer for the Rotax Challenge Thailand and Asia Trophy, Chang Tantit Vertical. Here we go, the number 259 showing, I believe, his sponsor on the helmet, as we're just about to get started for this one. So here we go as we're about to get started. And right away after the drivers are done and have grown out of their mini carts, they move on to quite drastic transition into the junior category. And the driver who will know this most well, I would say, will be Poomsit Klomachong, the driver who shined once in the mini category, but has a relatively small torso, and he will carry a lot of weight on his cart for sure for Poomsit Klomachong in the number 264 yellow cart. We have seen some fierce battles between the front row of the grid from Hamish Campbell and Panusian Mankong. And we will see who takes victory lane in the superheat as we are just about to get started at 1:36 p. Sorry, it will be at 10:46 local time. So the Thai driver on the left side of the grid, and from pole position will be the Australian driver Hamish Campbell. The driver who leads the Asian Championship is Mika Slabat, who finds himself in third position in the number 215. And then right behind Mika Slabat in the Asian Championship will be Poomsit Klomachong, who is all the way in 8th position. So he's got some work to do if he still wants to secure the Asian Championship. In the Thailand Championship, it's still Panusian Mankong who leads from Tas Mueang Siri by a relatively large margin. And as the clouds start to roll in here, we're getting a cooler environment for racing. Track temperatures are still hot, however, as the drivers go out for their warm-up lap for the Junior Max and Junior Rookie Super Heats. I know, interestingly, yesterday, after racing in RMCAT and commentating all combined for several years, I have seen a move Hamish Campbell did into the second S.
I've never seen anyone done before.
Did a
Switcheroo move on Panusian
into the second S.
On the front row from Panusian Mankong. Third place will be Mika Slabat, followed by Johnny Ambrose. Here we go. Red lights off and we're racing. No contact whatsoever. A relatively clean start as drivers are 3 wide coming into the third corner. Oh, as the drivers just climb wheels. But out in front, it's still Hamish Campbell leads from Panusian Mankong.
And I believe that was Tasman Siri who takes up a point action. Panusian Mankong deep into the brakes into turn number 10. Beautifully done. There's what happens to turn number 3. That's Tasman Siri, the driver in contention. For the Thailand Championship, decided to take a point action. Back into the action now, Panusian Mankong.
Right behind is the Indian driver who makes his way into the position. And they are side by side coming out of second SS. I believe that is Tanatas going side by side.
Hamish Campbell now losing some ground on Panusian Mankong as Ian tries to lead Jamie Ambrose with the 24 from Mika Slabat.
inside goes number 255 of Jamie Armbrook into third position from Ian setting his eyes on Hamish Gamble. Still leading as his gap starts to widen from Hamish Gamble. Jamie Armbrook in third position. Working as hard as he can. All the junior drivers getting so Hamish Gamble still one. Nado Inchipanya just banging wheels with Paul Becker. He's battle between the two guys. Oh, it's contact to the others and Nado Inchipanya. That's what Nado inside, Mika Slabbert. But that was a dive bump and a half from Mika Slabbert. Slowly losing his ground from Hamish Gamble. Hamish Gamble currently holds the fastest lap. Making a good job here on some lanes. This is a little bit of a shutdown, guys. He has one incident. Well, sets his between Jamie in the number 255 and Mika Slabbert in the number 215. Start to extend his lead one more time. Hamish Gamble. Always been a trend in the front race to see the capture run as so identical to each other. So close to the inside with Jamie Albroth, and he gets it done. Going into the 100R, he gets Labra showing what he's done from Malaysia. Beautifully done move there, quite a risky spot to overtake, but on making it work many times throughout this race. Into fifth position, centralized on Jamie Albroth. Jamie knows was, and then the mirror has the push. Jamie to go the long way around. He chooses to go for the switcheroo coming to turn number 4. 2 laps to go, racing now. Jamie under the fence. Back into fifth position. Switcheroo on Jamie Albroth. Jamie falls 2 more positions down. What looked like a great run from the British driver. Paul Becker is the man on the move into the 4th position now. Paul doing an incredible job. Makes the win for Thailand. Followed by RMC does it to Deacon Labus. 400 per second. Beautifully done. Into the 4th position. Jamie Albroth in 6th. And there's a good the top 10 of Luke Komajon Pan now with Dante and Mikhail Karainen. Songkai was unable to get the run on Super Heats.
Panusian Mankong won that one, followed by Mika Slabbert in third position, Paul Becker in fourth, and Kian Shah closing out your top five. And next up we have the DD2 Max and Max Masters for the super heats, and Chen Binghao was able to grab the win in qualifying heat number 2. Just giving us a thumbs up there. Chen Binghao is able, we know Chen Binghao is able to check out the race if he's given some clean air to do so. And so the number 5-3, I believe, of Roger Young and the 5-3-9 of Scott John Howard will try to keep him behind. This is the number 5-3-2 of Ng Yi Tang. Here's the number 5-7-8. Here we go. This is Roger Young. Just giving us the 3 thumbs up. Quite the entertainer there, as he's having a little chat with his teammate from Stratos RL. And a relatively small train of carts here, as the DD2s are only in the Asian Trophy Championship. And so on your front row of the grid, on pole position will be Jeremy Yam in the number 5-3-3, followed by the number 5-6-7 of Chen Binghao. Chen Binghao will be fighting the 4 Stratos RL team, the only privateer, CPH Chen Binghao. So 3 minutes left on the board, and this race will start at 11:10. 15 laps of racing. Again, these drivers have been racing for the past 2 rounds. This is the 3rd round of the Asian Trophy racing at Birakat Circuit in Chonburi, which is right around an hour and a half from Bangkok. The mechanics are ordered to set aside as the drivers are slowly mentally preparing for the superheat of DD2 Masters. Here we go, 1 minute before the start of this one. Birakat Circuit has always been giving us the best action in Thailand. And just to show you, the number 539 of Scott John Howard, I believe, has ran in the grand finals, rocking his Australian suit. And right next to him, I believe, also Scott John Howard. Sorry, Roger Young, the number 578, has ran in the grand finals. The Taiwanese suit. A little bit slow of a set off for the number 578 of Roger Young when he gets it going. Said yesterday, the only reason the twos are so much faster than the seniors and the juniors, and obviously faster than the minis and the micros, are because they have a 2-gear configuration. Adding to more complexity, adding more experience and skill. Very proud to say it's gotten more from the public, and it's not as hard you think to join. The more drivers we get each year, more experience, not only Thailand but Asia as a whole. We are able to fight with all, and someone goes a little bit slowly, the number 533 of Jeremy Yam, as he just starts to hold off the train of carts. Jeremy Yam still leading the train of carts from Chen Ping Hao, as Roger Young just holds back a little bit. He's going to try for the slingshot. And definitely not a clear path for that one. And the left side, the train, Chen Ping Hao, accelerates way before the pole sitter, Jeremy Yam. And Chen Ping Hao definitely a little excited for that one. Willing to go start. For that one, as he is most definitely a little bit too quick on the accelerator. Jeremy Yam, of course, being the pole man, will get to choose and control the speed of the train of carts, and Chen Ping Hao was definitely going a little bit too fast for the pole sitter's likings. But here we go one more time for the Max DD2. Jeremy Yam, of course, trying everything he can to get some clear air. Jeremy Yam pulls in slowly, and now he will start to accelerate. And Jeremy Yam gets a better start, and he goes in the lead of the race. Contact between Jeremy Yam and Jeremy Yam, as Jeremy Yam just goes up and over into turn number 1. That was a fight for some clean air on the start of the race between Jeremy Yam and Chen Ping Hao. Chen Ping Hao moves across to defend, and Jeremy Yam just slots inside and gets tangled on the front wheel of Chen Ping Hao, and he tips over. Now that is the nature open wheel racing. Once you start to have some wheel banging, you go up and over, and Scott John Howard is able to comfortably run in first position. Jeremy Yam went down the inside of the disappearing gap. Chen Ping Hao tangles wheels with Jeremy Yam, and he tips over. So we'll have to see what the stewards say in that decision. But at least all drivers are safe and out of the from Chen Ping Hao. So he was trying to get Jeremy Yam out of the guard. It leads the race comfortably 3.5 seconds. Second place. Behind Scott John Howard's best lap time. Scott John Howard representing Team Australia. Scott John Howard, relatively large guy. They just reach into the intake. And I'm curious to see what he's doing. I believe he's pulling the what's on the engine. We're going to see how his AF ratio is doing. And right behind is Yi Tang. And Yi Tang is clocking a faster lap time than Scott John Howard. But it's only by 7,400 seconds. Not quite sure if Yi Tang can reel in the 3-second gap ahead. So 10 more laps to go. front, Scott John Howard comfortably leading the race. Still from E-Tag. These CD2 cars look slow on camera, but they can get up to 130, 140 kilometers per hour. When you're sitting only 2 centimeters off the ground. And it can feel exceptionally fast. Roger Young still having issues with his kart. And he is driving a little bit too comfortably there for his liking. The car just seems to be struggling on acceleration. All you need to do is just comfortably drive and take kart home in 3rd position. Still slowly reeling in the race leader as we come around 3.165. Just a little bit too slow to reel in the leader. But unfortunately for Chan Ping Hao, incredibly good start in turn 1. Both drivers were out of the race. See Taiwan. And up in front, Scott John Howard still messing with his engine. Into the last quarter down the front straightaway. He is gaining some time, getting some ground on Eung Tang once again. Jeremy's still having to play a game of catch and run. Scott John Howard. As exciting. Scott John Howard still 3.32 seconds ahead of 2nd place. And all he needs to do is just comfortably take the win in the Super Heats. And so the results from both qualifying heat number 1, qualifying heat number 2, and the Super Heat where you get extra points will determine where you start on the big race. Later this afternoon, it's the final. Scott John Howard still comfortably leading the race. Not much to go, not much is happening. It's a practice session for Scott John Howard. I believe is the kart they use for the DD2s in the grand finals as well. At least that's what they use in the year I was racing for grand finals. Right behind is the number 532 of Eung Tang. Win the championship, either it'll be Asian Trophy or Thailand Championship. You'll get 8 tickets to go to the grand finals. It's the fight of the best from each country. Get a ton of experience and get to fight out to see who will become world champion in the grand finals. But 66% of the way done, 2/3 of the way done for the DD2 Max Masters. while the race is ongoing, we shall talk about what will happen next after this. So right after this will be the CMX and Max Masters Super Heat, which will be 15 laps. We'll start at 11:38, and then followed by a lunch break. And there will be the finals, which the Micromax will start at 12:46. Local skill of E-Tag, driving comfortably, and he doesn't seem to have to push. It's not worth pushing for the 3-second gap anymore. Scott John Howard still not happy with something on his kart. Every time on acceleration he shakes his head. And there's 3 laps left. And I would say this practice session at this point gives Scott John Howard some time to figure out what's wrong with his kart. Scott John Howard, as he goes into the fast right-hander down the back straightaway, and here's where you can collect the most speed of the track. Heavy braking zone into turn number 10. Run it all the way wide into the runoff. Jump the curve on the left to set it up for the right into the last corner. And then once again down the front straight. Tap of the brakes for the DD2s into the first corner. Run it all the way into the cement part of the runoff. Bring it into the left corner. Heavy braking once again. Utilize the runoff as you flow again once into turn number 4. That is a lap around Birakat Circuit as he heads into the S's. The exit particularly, the second S is very important. As you bring that speed all the way into the 100 on the fast sweeping right-hander and then down the back straightaway. Tang still contains the fastest lap, a time of 57.3 flat. And here we go, final lap finally for the DD2 Max Master. And I would say super practice for the DD2 Masters. Degree and Scott John Howard, of course, gonna take the win comfortably here. And also get for Rotax Max Challenge Asia Trophy. For Team Australia. 3 corners left to separate him from the Super Heat win. Comfortably gonna take the win here. Interestingly, now the starting positions are all gonna be shuffled up. Scott John Howard gets extra points for winning the Super Heats. The 2 drivers looking to win it for final, Jeremy Yam and Chen Ping Hao, out of the race, will definitely have some things to consider. So here we go, that's the win for Scott John Howard. Comfortably ran race after lap. And Roger Young still heading into the final corner, and there was definitely some problems with his kart so far as he slowly strolls it past the finish line. Now we will go into the highlights for DD2 and come for the results. will be Scott John Howard, followed by Ang Yi Tang and Roger Young. Unfortunately, there was contact between Chen Ping Hao and Jeremy Yam, and both drivers do not finish their race. So not only does that shuffle things up for the final start in the DD2 grid, but also we will see some more interesting action happening as we head into the finals. But next up we will have the Senior Max and Max Master Superheat, and on pole position is Panyakon Aram Rasime, followed by Toby Gill running beside him. Siri Kong Siri in front of the camera, and right into number 369 of Chris. And this is the number 331 of Austin Gale. Interestingly, Austin Gill does not choose to run a balaclava. Stinky, stinky helmet. And right behind him is the number 324 of Jenny Bimet, next to Travis Cho. And then the number 933 of Tanapov, followed by the 367 of Krishay Goot. Then in row number 11 is the number 312 of Abu Ash Siame, followed by the number 353 of Harith Zyril O, and the number 944 of Wirasak Emichan. Here's the number 345 of Zachary Chaichon Boyce, the number 399 of Lakash Manish Bafna, and the number 328 of Daniel Harris Jaggi, 342 of Clifford Ganchanapas, and right in front of him is Luke Joshua Armstrong, and the number 344 of Warapong Imwichan, the number 377 of Dying Ibrahim, followed by man on second place, Toby Gale. So that's your quick rundown of the 11 rows and the biggest grid of Rotax Mix Challenge Asia and Thailand, the senior class. And we will have to say this is the highlights of all of the categories, the best racing and the best competition in Rotax Mix Challenge Asia and Thailand. So here we go 15 seconds before the start engine board comes up. Here we go for the warm-up lap. One warm-up lap, one formation lap. And then it's race time. And these drivers will get 15 laps of racing. And these superheats will get 2 times the points from the qualifying heat number 1 and 2 So this race Toby Gill in second position, running side by side, wheel to wheel. Toby Gill some fierce defending last time around to bring Austin Gill into second position. Let's see what can go down today for the Super Heats. We want fierce but fair racing in Rotax Max Challenge, Thailand and Asia Trophy, and here we go, 11 cards start to roll into the trap lines, and Siri comes Siri doesn't get quite a best of runs. No, one more time for the formation lap, definitely helped him out there. Recipe just accelerating a little too quickly for the pack to follow. One more time for the formation. Single gear cut running the same default tires, the grippy tires, as the DD2 carts. So here we go for the slots. One more time. Will all the 11 row of carts roll into the trap lines. The 8 red lights are shown on the top of your screen, and when they go out, we will go racing. And here we go, Panigara Recipe still going a little bit too soon. We'll get another formation lap one more time. Pole sitter for Panjikon around Rasami. Here we go, one more time for the starts of the CD Max and Max Smashers Super Heat. There we go, the black and white warning flag for the number 318 Pentagon around Rasami is shown on the board. Pentagon around Rasami and Toby Gill, the two guys on the front row go out. This is the, I believe, third time they're trying for the formation lap. Pentagon around Rasami goes extremely slowly now to get a clean start. And the red lights go off and we go racing in the Cinemax and Max Masters side by side. That is for sixth position on the grid, and all the rail cards move forward in the train. Panagon around Rasmussen goes defensive into turn number 3. A clean start for the rest of the field as well. Toby Gill and one of the cars have gone off. The number 387 has gone off with one of the Tony cards. But out in front, Panagon around Rasmussen still leads the card from Toby Gill, Siri Kong Siri, Rasharan, and Ibrahim Dying. And now we go to the replay of what happened into turn number 4. Ambitious move down the inside, not sure what happened. And 3 cards go off into turn number 4. Toby Gill slowly starting to fall behind, checks behind, Siri checks behind, and the three cards ahead have started checking out of the race. The man to keep your eye on will be Austin Gale as he moves his way forward, and this is Panjikana Ramrasami's dad cheering him on to go forward. As number 343 just gets strikingly close to the tire barrier. Panjikana Ramrasami still starting to build more and more breathing room. Toby Gale now into 7th position. That was the DD2 driver from Australia, Scott Howard, cheering one of his teammates on in the senior class. Starts to build and build that breathing room, 1/10 ahead of Toby Gale. Panjikana Ramrasami finished second and third in his important race to build up your race weekend for the final. Toby Gale still trailing behind Panjikana Ramrasami. And just a quick look from Travis from Malaysia in the number 373. The middle pack are still backing up. Leading that train of cars will be Ibrahim, followed by Waterfall. Clifford Gachanapas, and Jenny Pipinet, the only female driver in this grid. Sorry, Panjikana pace to run away from Siri Kosiri. Siri Kosiri was 400ths of a second faster than Toby Gale, who currently stands in 3rd place. So Siri Kosiri is still finding the right timing to attack on Toby Gale. But Siri Kosiri running at the same time as Panjikana Ramrasami now. Siri Kosiri getting the pace. He's having the pace to run with Panjikana Ramrasami in 4th place and Siri Kosiri in these 57.0s. Number 10, just someone clips the grass there. I believe that was Warren Imachan. He's going to have to clear his tires now. More than a third of the way gone. Still not much action happening in this race as Toby Gale now racing to the 57.0s. But guess what? Panjikana Ramrasami 56.8, 2/10 faster than Toby Gale now. Just edging ahead of the wheel. Now we've always seen this trend where if the leader is able to get some breathing room in, he will check out of the race, and Toby Gale now has to struggle with seeing that Republic slowly disappear into the sunrise. super heat, and Clifford Ganjanapa trailing right behind his teammate in the number 373 Travis Joe. Clifford not going to look down the inside just yet as Ibrahim starts to run it a little bit deep, a little bit tight into the number 377 of definitely in proximity to make something happen here. Slowly moving into the number 377. Again, a look back from Dave Ibrahim. Up in front, Toby Gill starting to build a little bit of breathing room from Sandy Kong Siri. So they give of catch and run. Serenity right behind Ibrahim, still being pressured on from Warrapole Abidjan. Supposed to go Stokes to trace down Krish Gupta in last and fifth position. That timer is getting around extremely close. Champions in Canada's F1 Gupta. Fastest man so far, 56.7, 56.8. 0, and the only chance he'll get in the final, I reckon, is probably to close him down in the first lap.
And Warrapole right behind Travis Joe,
still being pulled down by Joshua Armstrong. Then Clifford Ganjanapas, followed by Daniel Harris, Jenny Biminen, and Lakash. Just being motored there from Warrapole. Still the battle of catch and run between Austin and Gale. Still moving to follow it in these type of weathers. It's quite different from yesterday, and we've definitely seen less action. Degradation of these tires. recipe. And 2 laps to go now. Recipe is most likely going to fast right behind. Still Miguel. Slowly but steadily, still breathing. Still breathing. Strong race pace, you can never tell. Panicon's still running in the high 56s. Such strong pace. Panicon on recipe. And it's now the final lap. Panicon on recipe steadily running in the 56.9s. Impressive stuff. Driver. And now in front, Toby Gale. Still 2/10 faster than City. So things are nice and steady like this. Panicon on recipe will take the win in Senior Max and Max Masters Super Heats. Beautifully turned race once again from Panicon recipe to take the win in Super Heats. Panicon recipe wins in Senior Max and Max Masters, followed by Toby Gale, Siri Kong Siri, Rajarat Anantakan, followed by Krish Gupta and Austin Gale. Right behind him is Daing Ibrahim, Warapong, and Travis Cho, followed by Luke Joshua Armstrong. And I believe the guys will get a set of fresh tires. So we will get to see some raw pace on some fresher tires in the final as well. Interesting stuff in this race as we head into the highlights of Senior Max and Max Masters. comfortable win, followed by Toby Gale, Siri Kongsiri, and Rajarat Anantakan, and Krish Gupta to finish out your top 5. Then we will have a short 40-minute lunch break starting at 11:56 local time, and then we will be joined back at 12:36 before the start of the final in Micromax at 12:46. So please come join us back at 12:46 local time for the Micromax and Micro Rookie final race to see who will take it in for victory lane. Thank you for joining us for the first half of the Rotax Mix Challenge Thailand and Asia Trophy. I'm Vongsapat Ketsuri commentating for this event. Thank you very much.